it's Gail, and today we are talking Kumihimo, or more specifically, the supplies you need to get started with Kumihimo. Now, I'll talk about threads and cords in a separate video because there are a ton of them that you can use, and they all have different properties. But today, it's the basic supplies that you need to get started. If you enjoyed today's video, thumbs up and subscribe if you don't already do so. But meanwhile, let's get supplied. Discs. You need a Kumihimo disc in order to do a Kumihimo braid. Now, while you can make discs on your own with cardboard, I really suggest getting one of these foam discs because they'll make your life a whole lot easier. Now, there are different kinds. There's round, there's square, and there's teeny ones. I even have a teeny square as well. They come in different thicknesses. We've got a thick one, we've got a thin one, and we've got one that's medium. I would suggest the medium to start with because the thin ones are a little bit more difficult to work with, and the thick ones probably you don't need that thickness at first. But anyway, get whatever brand that you can find that appeals to you. I would suggest a round one to start, but eventually you're probably going to want a square one to do those beautiful flat braids. So, supply number one, Kumihimo discs. Now you'll need something to braid with. You can have some cord, you can have some threads or ribbons. There are all kinds of different items that you can use to go ahead and make your braids. Now I'll cover this in a separate video because there's more than just this that you can use. So look for that video, but actually you can't really do Kumihimo without one of these. Now you're probably going to need some bobbins to keep your Kumihimo cords and threads in place. Basically what you do is you snap them open, then you take your cord and you just wrap it around. And when you snap it closed, it keeps everything in place. This is definitely useful if you're doing beaded Kumihimo. It's pretty much a necessity. And if you're doing long pieces of Kumihimo, you'll want to go ahead and use this, especially if you're using anything like silk that tangles so easily. Now, there are two different kinds. This is just a plain old plastic, and this one is actually weighted. So it has a washer on the back of it. And it can be useful. I think it's more useful if you don't need to actually, or you don't want to actually put your threads through the slots in the Kumihimo disc. I think that's when these are most useful. But for the most part, I just use these. I just got these as part of a kit, so I figured what the heck. You will definitely need some thread and a needle. Now, whether you choose to use something like Fireline or you want to choose a thread, just make sure it's strong. It should be either a beading thread or it should be something like Fireline. As for your needle, you will need a beading needle because they have a larger hole size. Now, if you plan on doing beaded Kumihimo, you will need a selection of beads. I have everything from size 6 seed beads, 8, 11, 15s. I have some fire polished in various sizes. And one thing that will be very useful is a large eye needle. It's also called a big eye needle. So you can see it's very big, and basically the whole middle of it is an eye. This is very useful for stringing your beads onto the Kumihimo. Now, you can also use other ways of getting beads on Kumihimo cords, but we'll talk about that when we get to a project like that. End caps. We need some way to go ahead and end our Kumihimo. You can see that I've got various sizes and various colors. I have gunmetal, I have golds, I have silvers, and various styles. You can also use cones instead of end caps. So these are endings that I would consider to be essential for Kumihimo. Oh, guess what? I finished this video and then I realized I missed one of the most important things. You will need glue. I almost always use E6000 for my glue, and it's used to glue your Kumihimo thread into your end caps. Whatever you do, make sure it's a clear glue. In other words, it dries clear. So don't forget your glue. There are also things that you can use like clasps and chains and things of that nature. So we'll cover those when we get to those particular projects. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up. Look for the other video that I have on the various kinds of threads, and then start looking for videos on specific projects. This is Gail signing out, saying have yourself a beautiful day. Bye.